Well, welcome back, everybody. Paula Scheb is the Director of Tennis and Fitness at the Bonita Bay Club, which has 18 clay courts and a 10,000 square foot tennis facility. She's a USPTA Master Professional and grew up under the tutelage of Nick Bollettieri. She has been featured many times in Tennis Magazine with teaching tips, and as well as a special edition periodical titled Tips from the Masters, which they promoted at the US Open. She's a graduate of the University of Florida with a bachelor's degree in business marketing and played there for the number 2 nationally ranked team. She was an All-American there as well in doubles. Paula, welcome.
Thanks, Kevin. And before we get going, if you guys have the ability to click your video on, I don't care if you're eating, if you're having a beer. I mean, if you're having a beer, I'd be jealous because I would join you, but I'd love to be able to see as many faces as I could see because it just feels nicer that way. I mean, particularly with everything that's going on in the world, it's nice to be able to look into some eyeballs. So you're going to see, it's either going to be at the top of your screen or at the bottom. And if you could just click start video, it would be awesome. And then one other favor, and we'll get going. I think you probably did it because I heard people asking questions with Rodney, but if you click the participants tab, then we can all chat, and I'll do. Well, Pat, am I going to do that, Pat? There we go. Okay, so, well, I better not do that. Pat, I'll let you read those because I think it'll be on my screen. It'll be a little distracting. Do you mind?
Yes, I'll read the chat for you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get going. Let's do some events that are really going to rock your club or your facility, and let's just have some fun. Let's go all over the place. I love doing events, and I hope I can share some of that passion with you. And again, Pat, you have been a rock in my career, and you have been one of the greatest tennis professionals I have ever known. Thank you for being you, Pat. Every time I talk to you, I learn something. When we talked today, I learned something. And Southern Division's so lucky to have you doing what you're doing and making the difference in that division. And you've projected it to outer space for sure. Kevin and the rest of the board, thank you as well. So let's get going. So why do you think you really want to do events? And I would tell you, you really want to do them for a number of reasons, 3 in particular. Okay. So if we look at job security, people may say, well, you know, if I teach well, that's the number 1 thing I can do to make sure I've got a good job. Well, you know what? I will tell you that that's a wonderful thing to be able to teach well. And as a member of the USPTA, we obviously all want to do that. But I talked to about 12 general managers, not a huge sampling, but at some pretty good clubs down in Florida, all CMA certified. And they said the number 1 thing for them that they're looking for with their director of tennis is actually great event programming. Lessons, or being able to teach a lesson, was like number 7 on the list because they think you can do that already, right? So job security is the number 1 reason you want to have event programming at your club. And especially now. Why now? Oh boy, people love you guys. I want to see more of you, so I hope we get more videos started. Seeing a few more. Thank you. It's wonderful to see your faces. Thank you, thank you. So your members love you. They look up to you. They idolize you, and they trust you. So especially now, you're one of the people that they trust their lives with, and they also believe that you're going to keep them safe. So as we program, we know that's going to help our member camaraderie, right? And then, again, especially now, you're going to get people coming out of the woodwork to do stuff because they can't do anything else. What can't they do? Think about it. We can't go to a movie theater in Florida yet. We can't go to see a play. We can't, restaurants are a little bit awkward for sure. So they're staying in the bubble of their club. So promote this, promote events, and promote member camaraderie. And last but certainly not least, let's engage them. They're looking for you to lead them. It's a great time to be in this business of tennis. It's a safe sport. We can make it safe and we can entertain, and that's going to keep us employed. Think about it. What makes you different than the 2 courts down the street? Yeah, you're different. You're special for sure. But also because you can program, right? That's what makes people, one of the very biggest reasons people want to join your club. So can you guys just, now that I can see you, can you, I'm going to scroll, can you give me a thumbs up if you think, I'll give you an example. So my title now, I'm so excited to tell you, my title has been over the last few years, Director of Sports. So we keep growing our amenity base. And so I've got about, 30, maybe a few more people that work with me. And I can tell you, almost all of them are distracted. How about you guys? Are you a little bit distracted in this COVID world? Put a thumbs up if you are. Come on, I need more people to see your eyeballs. Put your start video. Okay. Well, I will tell you that my staff's definitely not as focused as they could be. So when we talk about events, it's amazing because I get them all on the same page. They're excited. They're ready to get going. And it gives them focus. Think about it. They don't know if the club's going to close down in a week or a month or 2 months. It's happened to a lot of us. So it's a little bit uneasy being in our industry, but we can make it special for everybody. So I wanted to share with you our new normal programming goals. And this is probably something similar to what you have at your club. But I felt like if I wrote it down, it helped me kind of figure out what we wanted to be. And I was hopeful that it would be helpful to the rest of our team. So I wanted this season to really focus on creating programs that maximize everybody's concern for safety of our members and of our staff, because they expect that. Again, I was so lucky to share about a half hour before Rodney started to speak tonight and chit chat with Pat. And he said his members feel so safe at the tennis facility, at that part of the club, because everything that the members see that Pat and the rest of the team are doing there to keep them safe. So that was obviously our number 1 goal. Our number 2 goal was, I really want to make a statement almost that our sports center programs, which is, pickleball, pool, croquet, tennis, I want them to be uniquely and intentionally different than any other year, right? The calendar is going to look totally different. And then I want us to be known as the fun epicenter, formerly known as the sports center. So I want to create a buzz and an energy around the sports center, because I think we have a lot to offer at this point in time. I mean, it's a time like no other. I think we would all agree to that. So you have to make your competitive members happy. And they may be, I don't want to say, they're always looking for that competitive way to solve their need, right? So we are, at this point in time, we will not be having interclubs. The board won't allow interclubs at this point in time. I don't know by October when they'll start. Can you guys just give me, because I'd love to share it with my team and my boss, how many of you guys, just write yes or no if you don't mind, how many of you all are ready to do interclubs, and when are you going to be ready to do interclubs at your club? if you don't mind hitting the participants button and hitting a chat, that would be nice to know. And I appreciate your helping me out there. That'd be great. So for us, we had to develop an intra-club program. And again, for us, we have about 350 members that play league. So we've got about 23 teams, give or take one or two or whatever, depending on the year. And so if those 350 people aren't going out and about to play somewhere else, guess what? We get the opportunity, the unique opportunity to create something to fill that void for them. So we sent a survey out to all of our captains and the co-captains. And it said, we'd like to do something different just in case we don't have league this fall. And we're looking at 3 things. Option 1, we'd love to put everybody at a specific level into a draw. And every week you'll play with a different partner against 2 other different people. And we'll do it for 6 weeks. It's going to cost $10. You get new balls. We'll have staff out there making sure everything's hunky-dory. You'll get the schedules. Just show up to play. So if we were going to try to organize, so let me go back. For us, this is exciting because, again, we get to keep them at home. But also, we're going to get more players come into this than just our league players because we've got players that can't play league on a certain day, or it's their golf day and they've been doing that for 10 years. They're not going to give it up, or they just don't want to travel. So we expect it to be pretty popular. As a matter of fact, the other 2 options, which I didn't tell you about, and I apologize, were 1, we could have 2 teams, or if there were more than 2, we could have them play each other. And we figured that wouldn't be very popular with our women members in particular. But we threw it out there as an option. And our 3rd option was just do what you always do, just play among yourselves. Well, it did come back that they liked option 1. So then for us, I mean, I'm going to presume you guys are about like all of us, is that we're busy. So to have 350 people that we're trying to organize on a weekly basis, it wasn't something that I wanted to spend or hire somebody else to do. So we were fortunate. I'm always looking for the next best piece of software. And I think Pat and I giggle and chuckle about that because I guess that's what we're always all doing, right? So we finally found one and we're thrilled with it. I'm not trying to sell it. It's not that. It's just, for me, it was about the members choosing the format and then the ease of it. And then it had to look good and operate well. So there was a guy in your division, the Southern Division, which you guys, by the way, know you're known nationally for being an amazing division. But you had a guy named Greg Grover who wrote 2 books, Creative Tennis Programming Volume 1 and then Creative Tennis Programming Volume 2. They were the best books ever. He used a mathematician to get the rounds. I'm going to tell you, I've looked at 30 pieces of software or different books or sheets or whatever, and nobody ever did the kind of round robin schedules that those 2 guys produced. I even had a piece of software 2 years ago where we found all sorts of flaws in it. So for us, I'll just kind of show it to you a little bit here. And so it takes just seconds to set up. I did this in 3 computer screens because I wanted to be able to show it to you. So it only takes a second to set up, and basically anybody can do it. Anybody on your staff can do this. You could do it. All you have to do is have the parameters. When's it going to start? When's it going to play? When's it going to end? Yada, yada. So anybody can do it. That's nice. It's totally flexible. So many options. I call it, it's my dream setup. I mean, I couldn't do this if I had to do it by my brain. It's just not big enough to handle the capacity. So it's your dream setup. And then it does all of the weekly administrative work for you. We will actually have our members put the scores in it themselves. We could do that, but we might as well have them do it. And then it'll send out reminders to them. It'll send out weekly schedules. And literally, guys, in 3 minutes, from like start to finish, you push a button, you've got this, configuration. So you can see this is the first week. Ours is 6 weeks. This is the second week. I didn't screenshot all 6 weeks. And then it's got different people playing with everybody. I can change. This is a screenshot. I can't do it here, but I could change anything pretty much in this whole line. Who's playing with who, the time, the court number, anything. So we love that, and this is going to be our lifesaver and a huge programming help for us. Now, one little footnote. One of the best things we did several years ago was get what we call a plotter printer. And a plotter printer just basically prints 24 by 36. A few years ago, they weren't that expensive. I don't know how expensive they are now, but anything that we do, we like to put up big front and center on the Sports Center windows. So we'll do that. Anything that's really important, or if it's a poster for an event and we're trying to promote it, we'll print it at Office Max, and they'll put it goes on foam board, and they'll put a nice cover of lamination over it, and it looks beautiful. But I mean, the whole thing costs us like $3 to do it like that. So anyway, Intraclubs, well done. Again, competitive. We're playing for $50 in the pro shop, $30 and $15, I think. So they feel like they're playing for something. Doesn't matter the amount. We can socially distance them because they can go right to the courts. We've got the right number of seats out there. Same things you guys are doing all the time now. So this isn't this unusual, but for us, we always like to come up with cute names for our events, and we've been stymied, and we haven't come up with a cute name for this event. So if any of you guys have a cute name for this event, if you would chat it to me, or I'll give you my information later, you can send it on. I'd owe you $1 million. But basically, it's a member team tennis event that's coached by our pro staff. And for us, I really want to ask this question, but I don't know how to ask it virtually. But you can nod if you would. You, I know, have key influencers at your club. Think about that for a minute. People you know that carry a little more clout than some of the other members that people just love to follow, right? Reach out to those key influencers. We do that with new events, and we run things past them at different times, because then when we roll it out, we know they'll help us. Another thing we do while we're on that whole same idea is every single one of our events has at least 2 people as hosts. And those 2 to 4 people can get as involved as they want to get. They can help with the format. They can help with the prizes. Mostly what they like to do is we recognize them. They like to greet the crowd. And then, we give them the complete accolades, and then we ask them to send out email reminders to their groups of people they play with. So they really are gatherers, if you will. So I think the fun thing about this in this COVID environment is we're going to do a virtual draft. So we've got 4 pros in an office, 4 computers. Everybody will be in the same color shirt that their team will be in. And then it'll have, their last name on the back of the shirt. We'll have a couple of administrative people in umpires' uniforms. And then we'll do this draft. And again, I don't want to get too technical and bore everybody, but you've got your, 6 O's in one hat, and we'll use, of course, a Bonita Bay Club hat, your 7 O's, your 8 O pluses. So we're going to do 2 lines at each level, men and women, and we'll do 4 teams. And then we'll do 1 line of mixed doubles, and each match will be 2 out of 3 tie breaks to 10. And so it'll get finished pretty fast, and we'll be able to do everybody plays everybody 2 times because we'll have 4 teams in it. So again, socially distanced, we'll put at least 5 chairs out on the gazebos, and we'll put names on those chairs, Sub, Paula, you know, Pat, whatever, so we can keep them safe. Again, we find people are really supportive of that. So lots of times we've done so many crazy things for gifts, you know, making wine label bottles, decorating wine bottles, everything. But again, with COVID, everybody, you know, on the front and center, we thought, well, if we give them a really nice cup, mug they can use for water that has their name on it, so nobody gets it confused, that'll be a really nice gift. You can get these online at Yeti, and they're not very expensive. We'll actually give them a picture of this because we won't know what team's going to win it until the very end, and then we'll have it made. We have an account with Yeti, so we'll get a little bit more of a break, but I don't think it's substantial. And these really, I think it's going to cost $35 or $40 for something this nice, and people know that name Yeti, so we think they'll like that. Well, they'll get a charge. At least we'll get a charge out of it, giving it to them. So my thing is, look, if Roger Federer can have fun on a tennis court, that's, you know, quite the Wilson racket he's using. I could probably even make a shot with that. That all of the rest of us and all of our members can too. And again, I want you to think about how important you are in your members' lives, and in particular in the environment that we're in now. They're looking to you for fun, for activity, and to keep them safe. And I feel so humbled, just like being here speaking with all of you all, I feel so humbled that people think of us like that, but it's pretty awesome. So I want you to think of yourself as a superhero. From now on, you're the superhero. And if you need a fancier title for your business card, let it be Director of Mirth. So we're going to do, would you guys, nobody's raising their hand. Type in yes if you've done, and I can see if you're making dinner. Type in your yes chat if you've done a ping pong challenge, because if you have, I'd love to come back with you and circle back with you and see how you did it and how successful it was. We're going to do a ping pong challenge. We have, between our tennis staff, actually, we have 3 ping pong tables. So if we need more, we can go to, you know, people at our club, other staff at our club. And then I also know a few tennis pros that have ping pong tables because we've double checked. And we're just going to throw them out on what we call our championship court, because that has the best viewing. They can view from above, they can view from the patio, they can view from a restaurant, so they can view. And then we'll socially distance chairs on the court so everybody gets into the spirit of it. The Breezeway Bar and Cafe will be open, and that's really important so people can get drinks. And that's another crazy thing with COVID. We're not supporting food and beverage the way we always used to tie our events in with food and beverage. It made our tennis events expensive, number one, but also we never made any money on the tennis side. Lots of times we lost money because we were just supporting the food and beverage. Now, just because of everything with COVID, we're not doing very much with food and beverage. We're letting them kind of go ahead and get a lot of their own stuff. So again, our format's going to be that we're going to play 2 out of 3 games to 11 points. Short, sweet, over, out, win by 1 point. We don't want it to go on forever. We'll have 2 flights, intermediate, advanced. And you tell me, how many times in a month do you get asked, when is the club going to put in ping pong, billiards, foosball, air hockey? I've asked my boss, and he said, Paula, read my lips. Never. No more non-revenue producing things at the club. But look, I think as times change, and in 10 or 15 years, I'm going to bet they'll be everywhere. But this should be kind of fun. And I wanted you guys to see, this will be our gift for that. You can make ping pong paddles and put their picture on it. And our members have got everything they could possibly need or want. So for us, all we're trying to do in every single event is create memories. So every single event has a photographer, somebody on our staff that's taking pictures. And then at the end of the event or the next day, we're either creating a little scrapbook of those in flip chart or flip stack, or we're sending them to people just so they have them and they can send them to their kids and grandkids. So that, I think, will be a hoot of a fun event. Everybody can play ping pong, everybody. Escape court. So we believe we can do this with great social distancing. We won't have the teams touch. And if you can imagine this, we're going to have 8 people to a team, and there will be 4 challenges before they can move to the next court. So for us, if we have 8 people to a team and we have 4 teams and they've got 4 challenges, that means we have to have 16 courts. If I didn't have that many courts, let's say I only had 4 courts and I wanted to have 4 teams, guess what? I would reset the court every time. It wouldn't be that hard. But again, we can print fun things. We're going to print the riddle in a big format. But let me just kind of give you an idea what this is going to look like. So you can see, well, I hope you can see that what they're going to do is they're going to show up, and again, they're all kind of spacing, and we'll have that big 24 by 36 inch poster several places on the court, and it'll say, serving is an art. Where do you start? All must play. Each must go through. Everyone needs to succeed for full points. So look at your court. Make sure your team does not thwart. You have 3 times before the bell chimes. So they get 5 points if they solve the riddle. And for this, you can read on the little card there that they're going to serve to the deuce court. Now imagine this. This is the stuff you just gotta love. It's corny, I promise you, but members love it. Do you remember the bop down thing that either you had or your kids or your grandkids have? You put sand or water at the bottom, and it's got usually a picture. It stands 3 feet tall. It's got a picture of a clown or something on it. I even think there's a company on the web that sells these. So we're going to have those as targets, and then what we'll do is we'll take staff pictures and we'll blow them up, print them, cut them out so that they fit on that knockdown doll, and they'll be aiming towards those. So they'll have to go through, if all 8 players get it done, then they get 50 points. If somebody keeps missing and then they got to start over, they'll add up the number of points they get. But for this first challenge, and only the first challenge, we're going to make sure that they play to time. So they've got 3 times to try it. Anybody have any questions? Have we left the building? We good? Okay. So, when you go to conferences, I always think that sometimes I get some great ideas in a seminar. Sometimes I take an idea and I mix it with one I saw somewhere else, and then something of mine, or sometimes I'll get something that they said that comes back and is really helpful. So if you have a junior college, a college or a university in your area, and how can I say this? I would strongly encourage you to develop a relationship with those coaches. Our college, it happens to be a college called, it's a university, Florida Gulf Coast University. It's been in existence. It's really new for a university, about 25 years. And we've been close with them from the beginning. And it's been one of the best relationships ever. Actually, for about the last 7 or 8 years, we always did fundraisers, but for the last 7 or 8 years, our members have given money to do a scholarship for the women's team. So it's the one of their players got a wild card into one of our pro tournaments that we held in 2019. So it's been a great relationship. So for two years, either the last weekend of October or the first weekend in November, we did an event where the men's and women's team from FGCU came over, and then they invited 6 other teams total, 3 men, 3 women, and they had a round robin tournament. And so when you talk about member camaraderie, when you talk about leaving people with memories, when you talk about people coming up and they can't stop talking and thanking you, this was just one of those events. So if you can imagine this, Thursday night, the event was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday night, we had a big hoedown, big party where people met the members that they were staying with. So our members hosted about 65 or maybe 70 kids in their homes. Even the Florida Gulf Coast University kids stayed with members. And everybody loved it. I mean, it was like their grandparents they were staying with, only probably much more active. And in wonderful homes and home cooking and yada, yada, yada. We fed them a lot at the club too, but oh my goodness, they had 3 days of heaven with these members. So we are not doing that this year for obvious reasons. It's sad to say what's happening to a lot of collegiate tennis teams around the country. So hopefully that will come back. So I wanted to, though, mark the weekend so that our members would continue to remember the fun that they had at the college tournament. So the men and women's coach are coming over. They're bringing somebody on their team, and they're going to play mixed doubles. And so they'll play an exhibition, but our members are going to bet on it. Now, we've done Calcuttas and betting events. We've never done them at the club. We've always taken that part off to somebody's house. So, and when we've done a betting event for an event we've done Bonita Bay Bucks, which was funny money. So this actually won't be money exchange, but they will get a betting ticket, and then they can bet on stuff like winner, what team's going to win, what's the score, what's the total score number in games, what's the over under. I'm trying to think who's got the most aces, what team has the most aces. Take something from Rodney's seminar. Who's got the most errors in return of serves, or the most winners, whatever you want to say. And then, so you've got somebody calling the match on your team, and that's got a really good festive sense of humor. And then you've got somebody making all this, keeping track of the statistics of the match. And then everybody's marking their betting tickets, and then they keep them. Just make sure you give them pens. People like to win, and erasers with pencils promote that. So give them pens. On the bottom of that betting tickets, it's going to also have a place for them to donate to FGCU, because their teams have also taken a financial hit as well as a lot of colleges have. So we're going to make this a fun raiser, and really, I think our members are going to have a great time with it. If you've got any ideas on something like this that you'd love to share, any ideas on anything, just chat it in, and I'd love to share it with the group. So we're going to do Jeopardy, and this is where Pat was giving me a tip late this afternoon that said you guys at the Southern Division always are miles ahead of everybody, and you used an app on your phones called Kahoot, and then you did something similar, but people could play it on their phones and see it on their phones, and you'd have a big screen up there, but they were playing on their phones. That actually is a great socially distanced way to do it. So thank you, Pat. We may do that. What we did is we scheduled this event for last year as our going away event, and then we had to cancel it because of everything with COVID. So my point here is you could do some sort of game as a standalone event tied in with an exhibition, play around robin. Obviously right now they'll only be switching among their court. And then for us, what we're going to do, I wanted to be able to show you how this worked, but it has macros in it, and you don't have to set up the macros. It just has it. And so it was impossible to kind of do it with you guys here, but I did take a screenshot of it. But we're going to have one big screen that shows this, right? And then you can see some of the other things off to the side. So if somebody says they want movies for 100, and then we can kind of go through that, and it might come up, what is Forrest Gump's favorite pastime? And so, you know, then it will have, you know, the answer and so forth and so on. Now, how we planned on doing it socially distanced is, again, on the internet, we got 6 buzzers. So we were going to have them sit at tables of 8, buzz in, and have 6 teams. Now we'll probably socially distance them, not have them sit at a table, and then somebody, when they know the answer, will give us the index finger, and then we'll push the buzzer, and they'll be able to say what is running. So we picked some topics that we thought might be, you know, everybody might have a little bit of information on. But, you know, guys, coming back to one other thing, let me scoot here and get out of this real quick. One of the other things that I think is so exciting about creating these events that are just creating fun, because people can't go anywhere and do anything anyway, so you've got more people ready to participate, is that you now have some mass appeal with the whole club, the entire club. And so by doing that, you're going to pull them over to tennis, and who knows, you may get some tennis players because they see you're a leader, they see you're having fun, they think tennis, I mean, let's compare it to golf. Come on, it is fun. So they're going to see themselves being where you are. So I think all of this, and I will even go out on a limb and say, as terrible as this whole COVID situation is, and I feel terrible for anybody that's been affected, and if anybody in your life has been affected, I'm so deeply sorry. But in terms of what happens, and I've got a 90-year-old mother-in-law, so I know that it's challenging to keep people safe. So if people come out and have fun and we can keep them safe, that's great. And I do think by doing that and us just doing the normally good job we normally do, that tennis as a sport is going to come out the other side of this bigger than it was before we went into it. So I do think that that will happen. And now, instruction program, people have got more time. They haven't taken vacations. They've got more money. They want to see you. They want to spend it. We are going up, by the way, on our lesson prices this season, which for us starts October 1. And again, every place is seeing increases, grocery stores, restaurants. So the whole club, all of our amenities are all going up in their lesson prices. So again, that was a really cool thing we did this year, that we pulled everybody in and we all are going up together. So there's a guy, I think he is world famous now. His name is P.J. Simmons, and one of the brightest minds in tennis. He's a 4.5 recreational player. He has a super big job in real life. And a number of years ago, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, he decided he wanted to create a recreational conference for recreational players that's very similar to what we all go to. And so we did. And actually, the very first one was in Peachtree, so in Atlanta. And he's now moved it to Tucson, Arizona. Don't hold that against him, but the weather was a little bit more predictable out there. And it's been madly, crazily received. So although people are doing 3.5 days or 3 full days with him out in Tucson, we decided to do this for just 3 hours a day for 3 days, because we figured people might freak out if it was all day. So we're combining all of the disciplines we can think of to make this an amazing workshop for our members. So we've called it the Bonita Bay Club Total Tennis Training Workshop, not real creative. Any ideas you have, we'd appreciate. But we've got a sports psychologist, and guess where we got that sports psychologist? From the college. They use them there all the time. So we go back and forth doing favors for each other just all the time. We've got a nutritionist, which we do have at the fitness center, but if we didn't, we would also use the nutritionist from the college. We're going to be doing tennis drills, strategy play, a little bit of video. And then we're obviously going to involve the personal trainers, one in particular that's taken the Racket Fit class. This is really important to me. Can you guys chat and say yes if you have taken the Racket Fit course? That was one of the most rewarding courses I've ever done, and I only did it 3 weeks ago, sometime in July, and I did it virtually, and it was totally awesome. Sean Drake does a great job. The rest, and Jeff Salzenstein, who you've got speaking tomorrow, he does a fabulous job. And then a guy named Greg Rose, who runs it for TPI. Sean and Greg are chiropractors, and they knocked it out of the park. It was, I don't remember, 6.5 hours, and I was glued. We couldn't talk. I was just glued to my computer. So we learned a lot of things. Actually, it was really helpful for us as tennis professionals, but also we learned assessments that our fitness staff can do. They were doing them anyway, but now we can talk the talk with them. And so we're going to do a few of those assessments that we learned in the serve. Our fitness staff will do that. And then we'll video the serve, and that'll be kind of from above, from the side, and from the back. And that'll be their parting gift, is our fitness professionals and our tennis professionals will get together, and we'll do a voice overlay and talk about, you know, we really want you to coil like this, and we'll show a picture of Federer. Unfortunately, this is what you look like, and your fitness assessment says it's because you can't just disassociate your upper body from your lower body. So that's going to really help us for that. So that we know we can socially distance people. All of it can be done outside. We can tent them so we can keep them out of the sun. We're going to do it in January anyway. But that should be really, really fun. We're excited about it. Our beginner class, everybody does something. We haven't done it for a couple of years, so we think this is a year to do a beginner class because everybody's looking for something to do. And we're calling it Fast Track Tennis, and we're going all in. We're designing a logo, Fast Track Tennis at Bonita Bay Club. The staff will be in those shirts. We're doing lots of pictures, sending those out. Everything you would think to make it special. These are new players. And in particular, after 4 weeks, 2 times a week, we're going to have a league for them to play in. And, and so we're going to be able to transition them right into doing something really fun, and then also introduce them to our programs. And we'll have a big graduation party with, you know, pictures with them and the pro staff. And again, how awesome is this? If they sign up for the whole thing, pay in advance, we're going to give them a free private lesson at the end, which will again fine-tune a few things, and then also help them transition into being students of the game and sign up for more lessons. So, one important thing with this, we are really, everybody says they're going to market it, and we have great ideas, you know, but it's always what we've done. But we're not doing anything so unique other than this. We're going to contact every person that plays tennis, but that their spouse doesn't. And we're going to send an email invitation and also call them on the phone and invite them to come out to this class. We're going to incent their spouse by just giving them a complimentary Bonita Bay Club hat. And then we're also going to reach out to our entire sports membership and ask them if they know anybody that, a friend of theirs that could play tennis, and would they bring them to the class? Because I think that'll, you know, calm down some anxiety. So they'll bring them to the class, and for doing that and referring them, we're also going to give them a hat. So we're trying some different marketing things on that. So we're doing all the same clinics that you guys do. We're charging a little more for them. We're decreasing the numbers, and we're also decreasing the time because we have fewer people. A tip I got years ago, I think it was from Joe Dinifer, was something called drill and plays. And so this will be, we've done them forever and a day, but we'll do it in an hour time frame this time, half-hour drill, half-hour play. It's like $20, and then they get $5 back to the Sports Center shop. So they're really only paying $15 for that clinic. What a deal. Cardio, we've had to reduce the number to keep people safe, but we've just added more classes. Live ball used to be great when you get, 6, probably 8 out on the court. We won't. It'll be 4. That means the pro's going to move around a whole lot more and keep it exciting. We'll keep track. It'll go fast. We charge a little more for that now. And then we have something on our courts called Play Site. So we're still going to do those sessions and just drill on those. So we're just adjusting the numbers, adjusting the time, and adjusting the price. So where are we? We're pretty good on time. So I just have to share with you, if you would allow me, to tell you that my total belief in us as tennis professionals is that we constantly have to challenge ourselves. We have to step out of our comfort boxes, and we have to do something that we've never done before every single year, at least one thing, whether it's an event, whether it's speaking, whether it's teaching a group that you never thought you could teach, whatever it is, step outside. We're all better for it. So I had so badly wanted to do a pro tournament, and I wanted to do women because I thought they would relate with our members. I did a lot of talking with tournament directors all over the country and got that same feedback that the women will stay with the members. They'll be more chatty. They'll carry the relationship forward. So we decided to do the women. And trust me, I think I worked for 4 years tapping into everybody I knew, trying to get them to open doors to get us to get this tournament. And finally we got a call and we got it. So we did, in 2019, we did our first $100,000 pro circuit tournament, and our members and team just knocked it out of the park. And, we had Carolyn Dolhide here playing in doubles with USA as our partner. UFC Coco Golf was playing our tournament. We had Taylor Townsend on the other side of your screen. And then in the middle, we had Lauren Davis, who won the tournament. And we Instagram with Laura all the time, actually. Brian, my AA actually does a lot with her. And he just recently got this week about a 2-minute video from her right before she goes to the US Open. Saying, "Hi, Bonita Bay Club family. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about the US Open." She was so warm. And so those are the kind of relationships. I can't tell you, half a dozen members have sat in front of their TVs and turned on the tennis channel and seen somebody from the tournament playing in front of them on the TV, and then they're Instagramming them or texting them and talking to them. It's been wild. And I'll also tell you, it was huge growing for me in just the amount of detail work, but also in working with the tournament committee chair and all the other chairs of all the other committees, and how much I learned from all of those people. I mean, our members are so smart. I think all of our members are masters of their universe in their former lives, some current lives. And I learned so much because each one of them were so kind to mentor me and help me with it. I was surprised how much the community, the sponsor committee collected. We raised $275,000 for the tournament. And then I'm surprised how much our staff grew. Adam Lane, our assistant director of sports, ran the ball kids and did an amazing job. And then he got 140 members to be ball runners as well. Our head professional is now doing a videotape of that. One of our other professionals ran the stringing concession, and guess what? He leaves Tuesday to go up to the Western Southern Western and Southern tournament and the US Open to string up there. So that helped him. He's a USPTA professional. So many great things. We had to cancel it this year, but we've already started to work. We worked on it for 1.5 years before we had it in 2019. And we've been working on it this year already. So I just wanted to share with you guys the 5 goals that we had, and it made it really simple for me when I was talking with members and with committees and committee chairs, that the first thing we wanted to do was create an amazing experience for the players and the officials. And, you know, our members allowed us to do that, and the rest of our staff, and then the rest of the club staff. So I can tell you the feedback that we got was exceptional. You know, we made sure they had an amazing lounge to go into, a locker room separate from everybody else's, a training room, you know, fitness. It was just, and then the officials thought they were at the Taj Mahal, because not that our club's so fancy, but our chef just put out the whole kit and caboodle for them. So they loved it. But the feeling was, if we created a great experience for them, they would tell other players, and the tournament would get more and more exciting and bigger and bigger. Again, $100,000 is the largest USTA tournament that they run. After that, they jump up to 125 for WTA. And our feeling was we would much rather be at the top tier with the USTA than at the bottom tier with the WTA. And I was a little nervous about going too high in prize money. I'm somewhat pragmatic. I'm optimistic, but I wanted to make sure we met our mark there. So I thought $100,000 tournament was a great one to shoot for. And so then I wanted it to be a great event for our members, for them to be able to talk about and feel proud about, and then build member camaraderie. And it did, because we had twice as many people volunteer in positions as we did for ball runners. So we had almost 300 people in different volunteer positions at different levels, integrating. So it was awesome. Perfect timing too, with everything that had gone on at the club. And then I certainly, most importantly, wanted it to promote Bonita Bay Club and obviously the tennis program. And the USTA allowed us to do that because they streamed it on the tennis channel. They brought in an announcer. He did a great job for us. The members were really proud. And then, of course, I think, like you all would, most tournaments are better if they're tied to a charity for a lot of reasons. It's easiest to get sponsors. But we believed in the charity that we wanted to tie ourselves to. It was a children's charity that worked on keeping families together that were in financial need. And lots of times, well, actually, English wasn't their first language. So we wanted to raise awareness for this charity and raise funds for the charity. And the last thing is, we wanted the tournament to be net neutral. We didn't really want it to cost the club. We wanted to raise money for the charity, but we didn't want it to cost the club. So long and short, we did end up net neutral. The tournament didn't raise money for the charity, but the gala that we had with it raised some pretty good money for the charity, which was really what we had ultimately hoped for. So I'm hoping you guys look at that as maybe doing it. It's so good for tennis. It's so good for the community. It's the bomb. So I always like to have a quote and something I am talking with people about, because I always think they leave you with a little ... when the session's over. So to quote Albert Einstein, life is like riding a bike, because to keep your balance, you got to keep moving. So that's what I think about events. Events are like riding a bike, you know. To keep your balance, you got to keep moving. So you can run mundane events, or you can knock it out of the park. Might as well knock it out of the park. And so if you do, and this, by the way, is Jennifer, and she was the superhero of animals and of goodness, as you can see by her cape on the right. And she's my great niece. We've raised her since she was 1. She's 13 now, so this picture's a little bit old. So the bottom line is, if you put your events together, brainstorm with your team, get the support of your members, you're going to be the superhero. And that's what I really hope for. And you can then change the title on your business card to be the Director of Mirth. Thank you. What I would like to say is I'd love to hear from you. I'd be honored and humbled. And the best way to share ideas or to talk about anything related to the software is we all get a couple hundred emails a day, so it's tough. But if you could text me, that's my cell number at the and we don't have anything to share.
Paula, I have a couple of quick questions. I lost you there for a second, but you're back. What was the event? These are some questions we had. What was the event software that you mentioned there that kind of laid out the whole program and the whole round robin format for you?
So you can put it in a newsletter, and that'll be great. Or people can call me and I'll tell them exactly how to get a hold of the guy. That's no problem. Be more than happy to do that.
Awesome. Do you have a couple of the things like you talked about the escape court? Some people have asked about, oh, I'd like to have the rules for that. So do you want to maybe send a package and I can email it out to everybody later?
I can totally do that. Now, again, our season doesn't start till October, so we're still kind of working through those. And I'm actually glad you said that, Pat, because I forgot one thing on escape court. Is that before they leave the court, we're also going to have another riddle for them to do. And for that particular court, what we're going to do is we're going to make a tic-tac-toe puzzle on the court with the liner. If you have hard courts, you just use chalk, obviously. And then they're going to have to find the ball that says the USPTA ball that says ball number, number 3. So they'll have to have 3s going across, but it even won't be quite that simple, because what we'll do is when they serve, the balls will be all over the court, and then we'll also identify them, like there'll be a red X or a black circle, and they've got to get the right number on the front of the ball, and then on the back of the ball they have to have 3 red X's or 3 black circles. So everybody's going to be scampering around the court to get all the balls. And we think that every court will have a riddle at the end to solve before they can get out of the court. Again, a lot of the stuff, the props you can print, you can get from your garage, you can get from members. Just, you can put a bike on the court and make somebody ride a bike. Anything you want to do to make it fun.
Of course, we all want to come down to your club, Paula, and be part of these events. These sound so much fun. I'm going to do probably time for one of the things. As you mentioned, y'all were going up on rates. A couple of people asked about, like, what is an hourly rate? And of course, things change so much around the country, but they wanted to know at your club, what is an hourly rate, maybe for a private lesson?
Okay. I know we're not the most expensive in the area, and yet we're not the cheapest. So my hesitation in telling everybody a rate, which I'll tell you real quick to get it out there, is currently we're $82. We're going to go up to $87. But before we ever make moves, we call other clubs that we call a lot of clubs, but we pay particular attention to what we think is our kind of competitive clubs, if you will. We don't, in our area, we don't really feel competition against anybody because they have to live where they play, but we reach out to like clubs. So for instance, I could maybe call just a tennis facility, but I would call clubs that have more of the amenities and share more of the whole demographic and pricing structure for the membership like ours as well. So before we go up, we also check in with those clubs, and I can tell you everybody in our area is also going to go up.
Yep, Paula, that's great advice, because the idea is for anybody is not just, oh, wow, look what they are, but what's the area? I know your area, you're in a very well-to-do area. If somebody's in a medium income area, they can't even think about pricing like that. It's not going to sustain. So that is great advice. Great idea.
Pat, you have a unique way of making everybody feel so good.
And likewise, Paula, our superhero. Kevin, do you have anything to wrap up with?
No, Paula, I think that was terrific. I mean, you are a fun person. I can't wait to see you at the next convention when we're all able to get together, because this was outstanding, and you are a lot of fun yourself.
Thank you. You're so kind. I can't thank you enough. Those are very kind words, and I'm looking forward to us being able to meet. And again, please know that if you don't have a team to work with, I'd be more than happy to brainstorm with you or get a few pros in your area to brainstorm together, because I don't think any of us have enough brain cells to put it all together. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Paula.